Move-in weekend at Eastern Washington University is usually one of the busiest times of year for this tiny town.
You have a mask, you can leave your purse in here.
But this fall, now that almost all the school's classes are online, only a few hundred of its 12,000 students are moving into the dorms.
Do we want to get one of those?
Yeah, we'll have to look for a cart.
Okay.
Riley Carlin, a freshman, is one of them.
It's really quiet. Okay, this way. This is not going to be fun to make by myself.
No, it's going to be a pain.
I really thought about staying home, but in the end, I wanted that university experience, so this was my way to get it.
Let's hope there's no, COVID closure.
Yeah.
But take your things that you can and put in here.
You're going to do great, Foodie. Okay? Not bad, right? It just kind of feels like a rite of passage to be able to leave the nest.
You're going to do great, Riley. Love you.
Is this what you expected coming to school was going to be like?
No, absolutely not. I was imagining that I would have my roommate when I came here, and we were just going to be the best of friends and watching Netflix together. So it's kind of been a really disappointing experience. It's scary. I mean, my friends from high school are dealing with these outbreaks at these colleges. With all the breaking social distancing that's happening here, we're going to have an outbreak. It's just going to happen.
Eastern is the heart of Cheney. The school actually predates the town. The businesses here rely on the university's students and faculty, who double the population when school's in session. Without them, Cheney estimates it's losing at least a third of its revenue. And that percentage will only go up the longer the university stays remote.
How many vacant storefronts are there?
We have about 22 now in a 4-block radius.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So this used to be a massage place. That closed. Karate studio. Even the bank over there, that closed. That closed.
Because of COVID also?
This shut down during COVID. These guys are fine. Huge vacant storefront.
Do you see any of this stuff coming back?
Not anytime soon. I don't see that happening until we see a real big resurgence of students.
Douglas Labar grew up in Cheney. He opened the Mason Jar 8 years ago.
Did you guys play D&D last night?
And did Hunter contact you yesterday?
Britt came in contact with somebody who had COVID, so she can't work. She has to quarantine.
Obviously, I want to have a successful business, but I also really wanted to have an impact on the community. There wasn't very much down here at all, especially one that could link different aspects of the community together. The young college students, they get to sit next to 80-year-old farmers who come in. How great is that? On Saturday, we're 80% down in sales that day from the year before. This year, we're 45.24% down on that Friday.
Jesus, 65%.
65% on that day.
Wow.
Down.
Does that make you nervous?
Yep. Oh, definitely. You can barely pay your employees, let alone pay for any of the supplies we went through.
Eastern is one of roughly 600 regional universities, 4-year schools that mainly serve in-state students and are cheaper than colleges and universities with big names and endowments.
Morning, Chadwood.
This is David May's first time addressing Eastern students as university president. He just got the job 2 months ago.
Good morning. I can't unmute myself. Shortly after that November evening, I was currents engulfing higher education, national economy in turmoil, and Eastern will not be outside the effects of those forces. Good morning. Right now is the moment we decide if we are willing to take the hard, challenging, painfully bold steps required. We cannot be what we have been.
The university has lost so much money since the pandemic started that it's had to cut more than $20 million from its budget, nearly 10%, and raise tuition by 2.5%. its survival is now an open question.
400 people have been impacted by personnel actions. In some cases, that was a layoff. I think the number is 108. The grass isn't as neatly trimmed as it usually is because we don't have as many people in that part of the university. We've made cuts in staffing in academic affairs. We've removed phones from faculty offices. We've been looking for everything that we can possibly look for to try to reduce the impacts on people. But at some point we have had to, and we will continue to have to impact people's lives. Welcome to the school year. I'm smiling. Regional Comprehensive is really designed to be the economic driver of the region in which it sits. They're getting squeezed pretty hard right now. If the University of Washington wants more students, they've got a waiting list. The community colleges have innovated, have developed new types of degrees. They're also, in some cases, a slightly less expensive option than a regional comprehensive. And so the pressures are kind of from both ends of the continuum.
What kind of student is Eastern really serving?
We have a significant portion of our students who are Pell eligible for federal Pell grants, which means that their entire family household income is below $50,000. It's something that I take great pride in. It's something that for me is sort of the core mission of Eastern Washington University. If we lose a place like Eastern, we lose that point of access. We lose the opportunity for the social mobility that a college education brings. We lose a generation.
I love you forever.
Mama. Yes, baby.
I told you Mama's right here.
Mama. I'm back, baby.
Hands up. When you have a family, all of a sudden, it's not about how do I take care of myself, it's how do I take care of them.
Michael Reed got his bachelor's degree from Eastern back in 1996. After working there for 14 years, he was laid off in June, with just a couple days' notice and 1 month's severance. How'd that feel to have your time there end like that?
I would say extremely disrespected is how I felt. I mean, everybody was talking because everybody was wondering when, if they were going to be next. And once we began to understand just what the scope of it was going to be and how incredibly impactful it would be on the revenue for the university, then we knew it was going to get really bad. I don't know how much longer Eastern, as we understand it now, is going to be around.
Eastern is undoubtedly more diverse than the surrounding area.
Yes.
What happens, if that option goes away for students like that?
I think that could be catastrophic. Their target population is people who are kind of vulnerable to fluctuations in the economy, vulnerable in ways that a lot of the people who go to Princeton, Yale, Harvard just aren't. I know, I was one of those students.
So without Eastern being a sure thing and keeping you here,
there's much less reason to stay here.
Sweet darling, that's you.
Right after Vice News visited, Reed's wife, Nikki, who also worked at the university, found out she lost her job too.
what happens if things don't get better in the spring?
Personally, for us as a business, it'll be tough. We luckily, hopefully, have enough town support. But again, how many of those people work at Eastern? And so it's just constantly like punching your fist against a brick wall, Maybe you'll get through at some point, but it's kind of tiring and slightly exhausting after a while. I think we're finally getting a little momentum, but of course then COVID happens or stuff like this, and all of a sudden you get punched back down and you have to work your way back up. So yeah, I think that's definitely a lot of it. It's exhausting.
Is there a point at which you kind of give up on Cheney?
I don't want to give up on Cheney. I don't think I will give up on Cheney. I think I just may need to hand it off to somebody else. And so it's just kind of sad after so much work towards this. It's like, where does it go from here? And how long do we have to wait to be able to do those things? And are we going to be able to pick it back up and keep it moving? I don't know.
Dozens of people on campus have already tested positive for COVID since Carlin moved in.
He went to the syllabus to find all those assignments, right? Yes. The original plan in this class of about 150 people was for me to be teaching it in a lecture hall. Of course, that didn't happen.
Unfortunately.
But I still have the same number of students. Download Adobe Flash Player, Acrobat Reader.
Sounds like we're going to be teaching ourselves a lot.
And of course, have your antivirus protection.
I hate online school.
But like I said,
But on a lighter note, a boy talked to me yesterday. He said that he saw my Google Home on the Wi-Fi connection list, and he was wondering if I figured out how to set it up. And no, I cannot figure out how to set it up. But that was, I guess, what college relationships are made out of.
Eastern plans to keep classes remote until May.
It's kind of rough knowing that I'm paying more for online Zoom classes where I'm going to be teaching myself a lot of stuff out of the textbook instead of going to in-person lectures and office hours. It's all so unknown, and it's a scary unknown.